motherfucking Wednesday again. Welcome back, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me once again. It's another social production. Thank you. Glad you made it. It's Wednesday, July the 9th, 2025. Wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, down south in the United States of America, it's further down south, Mexico's over there in South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia's, and Austria's as well. Let's not forget the Austrians, Belgians, Cuba, over there in Jamaica, Wagwan, over there back to Tokyo, Japan, once again. Yeah, that's right, we did Tokyo, Japan twice, because we felt like it. Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur's. Hope everybody's doing well. A lot of exciting events are unraveling before our eyes. A lot of exciting things happening all at once. Let's get a sippy sip. That's still, it's hot but not too hot. And it is Wednesday. Let's just get right into it. Let's just get going. Let's have a little bit of fun. We'll see where the road takes us. We'll see where the path leads us to. We'll see what happens. The beautiful bitches. Oh, you motherfuckers. Wherever you are, a lot of exciting things are happening. But nonetheless, let's get right into it. I'll say this. People are, talking about different things, different concerns. We try to touch base with everybody on any level, wherever you're tuning in from, whatever sort of issues you might be dealing with. We're here. We got you. And by we, I mean this little community, this little familia that can. We've got each other's backs. And some people have different concerns. We'll get to all of them, or as many of them as possible. For example, you're like, oh, what's somebody's concern out there? Somebody out there might be, and thank you for the question. Thank you for reaching out wherever you are, or thank you for just thinking it out loud to yourself, or with your inner voice. Thank you for thinking it. Because if you're thinking it out there, others might be thinking the same thing. You're like, what are we talking about? What are we even thinking about? Talking about your wife's poop shoots. That's right, your wife's poop shoots. What am I talking? I'm not talking about specifically her anals, her asshole. I'm not talking about, we're not talking about anal. We're not talking about the sexual activities that concern the anals or anything like that, or the butthole, if you will. We are talking about your wife's habit of taking a shit and then taking her phone with her and either recording it or taking photos of herself taking a shit. And what's that all about? And here we don't hold any judgment against anybody for doing anything that gets them through their days, through their life. Who are we to judge? So your wife likes to take a picture of herself or record herself while she's taking a shit, and you're wondering, how do I deal with this? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for opening up. I'll say this. There are 8 billion people out there. Your wife is probably not the only person who likes to take a shit and take photos of herself or record videos of herself taking a shit. It is, I'm not gonna say it's, definitely it's out there, and it's out there in the outskirts. It's in the periphery. It's niche. Let's just say that it's not mainstream as of yet. It's not. Who knows what holds what's holding for us in the futures, in the tomorrows. So you're like, how do I deal with this? You could deal with it in multiple ways. You could get scared. You could operate from a place of fear, and we know how that all ends. Oh, sweetheart, we're gonna have a sit down and talk. If this poop shoot continues to proceed, if you keep taking photos of yourself taking a shit, I love you, sweetheart. I love you, boo-boo. You know I love you. If you keep taking photos of your shit, I'm afraid this is not gonna work. Next thing you know, you thought you're gonna just, break off a good relationship and go out there and find something better and find somebody who doesn't take pictures of themselves while they're taking a shit, or recording a video while they're taking a shit. You thought it's all roses and butterflies outside. You've heard of women probably who don't take photos of themselves taking a shit. You're like, oh, find me one of those ladies. Them bitches are abundant out there. Guess what? You break it off, you go off, and you might spend a little bit of time by yourself, or you might start dating immediately. The next thing you know, you're hooking up with all sorts of people. You might catch yourself with a lady with this crack. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I wish I didn't break up with my poop shoot girlfriend or wife, and now I'm hooking up with a crackhead. Sure, she doesn't video herself taking a shit, or takes photos of herself taking a shit, but she smokes a lot of crack. Next thing you know, you're hooked on crack. Next thing you know, you're sucking dick on the pavement for a little crack. How's that going for you? So that's operating out of fear, man. That is operating out of fear. So I say we operate from a space of love. If it's a hobby, first of all, let's just break it down. Is she sharing these videos or photos with anybody besides yourself? If the answer is no, if the answer is just between you and her, then I say you got yourself a keeper. I say you got to keep her right there. Try to, you know what it is? Sometimes we think that we got to love everything our partners, our lovers do, our significant others. We think we got to love every bit of them. And we do. But you don't need to go partake in everything or love the thing that they do like the way they love it. But you just gotta show a little bit of interest, a little bit of curiosity, a little bit of getting involved. I'm sure you've got hobbies. I'm sure you got activities that she might not be fully into either. But guess what? Showing a little bit of interest, showing a little bit of, hey, I'm gonna be here for you. Have you ever tried, let me ask you this, play to play, a pimp to pimp. Have you ever walked in there and asked her, hey, sweetheart, would you like me to take a photo of you taking a shit? You know what I mean? As a man, standing on that shit that you rep, have you ever walked in there, hey, sweetheart, would you like me to set up a tripod so I can record you while you're taking a shit? I'm just putting it out there. It's easy to say, no, that's completely her thing, it's not my thing. Again, if the photos are not going out anywhere, it's both y'all's things. And hey, give it a try. Try recording or taking a couple of photos of her. Get a camera, get a Polaroid, because who knows what happens? You're like, oh, what if I take the photos and they end up online somehow? Get a Polaroid. Have you ever thought of telling your sweetheart, we should get a Polaroid and just get it instant, it's just for you and me. While you're taking this shit, we can take photos of you. You guys can hang that up wherever you want, or put it in a little album of sorts, or send it to people you adore during the holiday season or on birthdays or on special occasions. Another step you could potentially take. Have you ever considered joining her? Have you ever, you're like, this isn't my hobby, this is her thing. But I'm just letting you know, she probably does stuff for you that she's not 100% into either. It's all about meeting each other where you are. Next time she's pulling down her panties and her skirt and whatnot to take a shit and take a photo, tell her scooch over, boo-boo. Or sit face to face on top, or you know what, you sit down on the toilet first. She's probably the lighter one between the two. Yeah, that's typically how it works. It doesn't matter, whichever one is the lighter one, whichever one is the heavier person, have them sit down on the toilet. The lighter person should get on top, face to face. Take a shit and record it at the same time, both of you, using multiple phones, multiple cameras, hitting it from different angles. And instead of thinking to yourself, oh, this could be a problem, I don't know where this is gonna go tomorrow. That's worry about today, son. Worry about today. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow, it could be another hobby. That might just stay the same for the rest of your lives, but at least you showed up and you said, you know what, I'm not gonna operate out of a place of fear. I'm gonna go in there with love and understanding. Next thing you know, you might get into it. And you're like, I don't know about that. You might get into it. You might start taking photos or recording yourself taking a shit and sending it to people, or not, keeping it for yourself. I'm not telling you to, jump head first and start sharing this on the cloud with everyone. But at the same rate, it's the little things that we do that count. So go ahead and at least get involved. Hold the camera. Start with that. Hold the camera. All right? That's the mother of your children. Don't have a baby yet? Wonder why. That could be the mother of your children. Guess what? She might be low-key. She might be subconsciously prepping you for when she does give birth and she shits the bed. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that, Lamar. Oh, I think I'm going to just go find me another bitch. Yeah. We've all heard that one. Stick with the one you got. That's all I gotta say. So your wife has got a habit of taking a photo of herself while she's taking a shit. Be proud of her. You know how many other things? It's just one aspect of her very colorful personality and identity. She's got so much more to offer. She's not just one thing. All right, you're not just one thing either. So take it into account, lead with love, and show support. Have you tried recording it from the back? Imagine I bet she could never do that for herself, but you could do that. She could sit on the toilet backwards. You could record it from the back. Offer her different options so she sees it. You know what? My boo-boo's a keeper. We might not have a baby yet, but this one, I'm gonna have a baby with this guy. So there you go, you're welcome. And again, no relationship is perfect. Nobody is, again, got the formula or recipe. It's just showing up and meeting each other where you are in life. But thank you for that concern and question, whether you put it out there or not. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing and opening up. Now you guys have heard of this, and it's been a thing that's been with us for, I don't know, some time. Do we get rid of it? Do we keep it? What am I talking about? Another major concern that's on everybody's minds these days. The homophone. You heard of this guy or gal, the homophone guy. The homophone. I'm talking about the guy or lady or the gal who likes to make phone calls solely from inside of her home or inside of his home, i.e. the homophone. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, it's 2025, buddy. Why don't you open up your mind a little bit, quit being a homophone. And you know what? We made a lot of progress. Not long ago, most people, go back to your family, your descendants, they're all, 100 years ago, 50 years ago even. Everybody used to be a homophone. Everybody used to make phone calls from their house, from their home. It was normal to be a homophone. It was praised. People were, oh, look at that guy. Maybe he's fat. People aspire to be homophones. You don't want to not be a homophone. So, we've made a lot of progress, and thanks to a lot of, technology and getting information out to people and having access to phones or cell phones rather than make it possible for us to go out there and make phone calls when we're not at home. So next time you come across a homophone and they keep on insisting, no, I don't hang out with people who are making phone calls on the outside. No, thank you. I'm a proud homophone. They'll say that. You could judge them. You could shun them, but take the time to put yourself in their position. Get a little event going. Get a group of friends. Gather around inside their home. Make a couple of phone calls from the inside of their home. See how it feels. And then little by little, try to introduce, and then walk outside into the backyard. Have a conversation on your cell phone right in front of them as you're looking through the window. See how that makes them feel. Are they comfortable? Are they open to it? Are they willing to hear you out at least? Little by little, send them a text from the backyard. Do they respond? Do they leave it on red? Take little steps. And you know what? At the end of the day, you might not change everybody. You might not get to some people for as long as they can, they're gonna hold on to their ideologies and they're gonna continue to be homophones and make phone calls from the interior of their household, and they refuse to get with the times, man. Get with the times. You can make phone calls anywhere these days, but some people are just like, no, I don't think I'm gonna make a phone call while I'm in the car. I don't know about that. The homophones, the people who only make phone calls from the interior of their homes, and they expect you to be a homophone as well. They expect you to be that guy or gal who only receives phone calls when they're inside their home as well. They expect that of you. They put that on you as if it's the norm. And I get it. Some time ago, it might have been the norm. But people got to talking outside. Cell phones are abundant. The tech is all up in our ass. You got signals coming from the space. You got who knows what you got. You got satellites orbiting. Oh, they're orbiting your taint right now. But there's some folks still holding on to what? To what? Holding on to what? They want to just live in the past, and that's okay. They might want to live in the past. Time will eventually deal with them, but you try to your best to. You don't want to be pressuring people to not be homophones, but at the same rate, introduce them. Buy them a cell phone if they don't have one, and they probably won't, because you know why? They're fucking homophones, man. They're fucking homophones, and gets me. It gets me because I'm like, we've gotten so far. It's not like we don't have the tech. It's not like we got to be, communicating through cups and wires. It's not like you got to be like, oh, send me a Morse code. I got to be home for this shit. A lot of people are busy doing multiple stuff these days. You got to be running around doing like 3 different businesses, taking care of your health, your family, your friends, this, that, and the other. You don't have time to make phone calls or take phone calls only when you're inside your home. But these people expect you to have this luxury and live on their level. Well, I say, you know what? Be patient, friends. Be patient. One phone call at a time. We will get these guys and gals to stop being homophones. Together, we can definitely. We've made progress. Look at where we were, and look at where we are now. God damn it! Look at where we are now. The vast majority of phone calls are made outside. They laughed at us in the initial steps in the early days. They laughed at us. They said, no way. Making phone calls outside is never gonna take. Well, it fucking took, didn't it? And look at us now. Together, we can make phone calls from anywhere we like, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise, ladies and gentlemen. I just had to get that off my chest. I don't associate with people who talk outside on their phones. I'm a homophobe. You want me to speak? You want me to start a conversation while I'm outside, buddy? It's like, bruh. Some people will just want to hang on to things that are antiquated but whatever. You do you, boo-boo, and we'll do us. Ladies and gents, what else is going on in and around the world? Lots of exciting events, of course. In Peru, near the border of Brazil and Peru, I was reading an article. Some of you might know, some of you might not know, but there's indigenous and or uncontacted tribes all around the world in different little pockets, little tiny populations. A couple, it might be 10, 20 people, it might be 200 people. Some of them are as big as maybe 1,000 or 2. They've not made any contact with quote unquote civilization for a really long time. And Peru happens to be one of those places on planet Earth. I believe somewhere around the border of Peru and Brazil, there's a lot of these little tribes, these little uncontacted tribes. And guess what? They are living their lives. But you know who else is living their lives? Who you never get to hear about? The miners who need that land to go and mine for minerals. That's right. Illegal and legal. People who chop trees, all right? People who chop trees legally and or illegally. Doesn't matter, People who are traffickers, legal versus and illegal. There's traffickers as well. I'm talking about drugs, substances, goods, weapons, maybe even people, all right? Legal and illegal. So you got all these different people in this cycle of life, if you will. And who gets all the attention? The uncontacted tribes, the indigenous people of the so-called land. And there's always these debates. Do we protect these tribes, these uncontacted people, or do we little by little, make room for other people to also make a living or get by? And I'll say this, I've had enough of the so-called uncontacted tribes, these the indigenous people over there, anywhere really. If you are, standing in the way of progress, if you don't, because it's 2025, baby. It's 2025. These trees are not going to cut themselves. These protected lands for protected people are not going to just get in the way of progress, all right? Not if we have something to do with it. So please reach out to your local jurisdiction, your candidates on a municipal level, or even below that, just low key, just grassroots level. Talk to anybody you can. We have got to do something about these indigenous uncontacted tribes. They're not, most of the time they're running around naked. I'll say that. Most of the time they're running around naked, or maybe they got like a little cloth, maybe just, covering the nuts or the vag sometimes. Sometimes they're just fucking, you know, titty out, baby on hip, titty out. Typical. Seen that. Maybe wielding a, you know, bow and arrow sometimes, or a spear, you know, and they're just like, oh, look at us. They're just squatting. They're just going out there hunting and gathering, not thinking about the illegal or illegal traffickers out there who are just trying to, you know, run a little bit of cocaine from South America and spread it all around the world. And they're just trying to make a buck, man. They are just trying to make a buck. So you take all this territory that's protected and say that you're uncontacted, yet you seem to be, you know, you seem to not want to, you're not shy from the limelight, I'll say that. You're not shy from the limelight on uncontacted peoples. So please, if we can just do something to get rid of or relocate these folks, put them in a condo, and I'll say this, they pretend they don't like this shit from modernity, but allegedly they like our porns. Some of them have gotten access to Wi-Fi via satellites and Starlink, and they're on the tweeters and they're on the X's, and they're watching the porns, man. And guess what? You know who's not watching porn? You know that is a middle-aged man right now, stomping right now, trying to make a good batch of pure, 100% pure, some that's Snow White, so they can get past beyond borders and travel all and get cut and get chopped up. And get served down the line to anywhere in the world, in Australia, Canada, United States, Asia, Europe, all right? And loggers, all right? Legal and illegal, doesn't matter. They're trying to what? They're trying to log, they're trying to get rid of forests, man. You know why? Because wood needs to be chopped down, man. All the wood needs to be chopped down, all of it. We need to make condos, all right? So these indigenous so-called uncontacted are getting in the way of condos, are getting in the way of anything that's made of wood, and I've just had enough. And yeah, some of them got really cool tattoos maybe, and low-key, it'd be nice to share and just let us know, it'd be nice to send somebody over and not have them disappear in the middle of the jungle. So I don't know what we got to do with them. Move them by force. Think of the children of the drug traffickers or people who traffic humans as well. It is not an easy gig. All right, you think you've got it hard? You got to get up 9 to 5 and put in a good solid day. You know how hard it is to be a trafficker? Think about their kids. Think about, Mommy, can I get the new Air Force Ones? Mommy, can I get the new Xbox? Mommy, when will you buy me a car, Mommy? Guess what? Mommy wants to get the new Air Force Ones for a little kid. She wants to get the new Xbox. She wants to get when she turns 16, 17, 18, she wants to buy him a car. Guess what? Cars don't just make themselves, do they? So they got bills and shit to deal with as well. So think of those traffickers. Those guys, the people you see wielding machetes and AKs, AKs strapped to the back, wielding a machete. And you know how hot it is in the jungle? You know how hot it is in the Amazon? All of a sudden you're walking, I'm just gonna get up and do my regular shit. They don't complain. I'm gonna get up and do my regular daily activities, try to get a little bit of cocaine to the rest of the world and be demonized for it as well. Next thing you got a dart in your neck and you're paralyzed from neck below. You're missing for 7 days. Nobody knows where you are. Hanging upside down from a tree. All your clothes removed. They're pointing at you, making fun of your little penis. Guess what? When you're afraid, it shrinks. And no one can judge you. No one should judge you, but they do. They mock you and they laugh at you in their indigenous tongue, and they disappear and reappear from the midst of the bush and in the depths of the jungle. No one can hear your screams. It is terrifying what is happening, but again, I believe we outnumber the indigenous by a lot. Wherever they are, whoever they are, let's nip this in the bud and make some room for more condos and more traffickers, please, of drugs and or people and of arms. Really, any trade that's borderline, you know, in the gray area. Let's just make it a little bit easier. These folks have got it hard. It's hard enough as it is. All right. You need to make roads and shit, and all of a sudden you got, like, you know, loincloth and, you know, the baby on the tit just getting in the way. So please, if you could just let anybody that can make something happen, let them know that this is going on, and together, one step at a, we can just move them to condos, put them in, they won't even know. They won't even know. Put wallpaper up that resembles the jungle. They won't know. Make a condo. It's 2,000 of them maybe. Put them in a condo. Let it be like not a fancy condo. Let it, if they want to start a fire, let them start a fire. But nonetheless, let's make room for more condos, and let's deforest the forest together. We can do it to one step at a time. We can do it together. All right? If they take one of us, we take one of them. Or maybe even more. We should take a few of them at least. If you're wondering to yourself, do I have the right to take one of these indigenous people or uncontacted tribes, men or women, with me if I visit and stumble upon one of them? You know what? If you visit, there's a chance you might go missing. So people have gone missing. So I say it's just fair. If you bring one of them back, they're yours. You can definitely, I say that with no authority, but I feel like it's the right thing. And you can definitely take a couple with you. They won't know. They don't speak English or any, you know, languages. Anybody, people won't understand them. You could own them. You could take them with you. It's not much of a fight. Once you get one of them, you know, distract the group, take one of them with you. They'll have nothing to, you know, they won't be able to defend themselves. They won't be able to speak any language. They won't be able to, you know, put up a fight or anything. They might be a little bit, you know, antsy and feisty at first, but a little bit of local anesthetics, you just numb them every day. Just a little bit of injection, a little bit, just loosen up the muscles, have them lay low. But there's many things we can do together, and that's just something everybody was kind of low-key concerned about. But I thought, you know what? What's low-key today may be low-key for some time, but tomorrow might still be low-key, but still a thing that we need to deal with. So there you go. Just doing my little part, trying to be of service. If you see them, make contact. They are playing, it's that fucking Jedi mind trick. We don't want to be contacted, but give us your phones and internet. You know what I mean? So make contact. Let them know what's up. What else is going on? I believe Lahore, and that is not French for the whore. I'm talking about Pakistan, Lahore, Pakistan. There was a beautiful individual, a family, I'm not quite sure, somebody in Lahore, Pakistan, owned a beautiful lion. And they're living their life, man. They're living that luxury life, and that's the beauty of things. If you've got enough money in the world, or at least for that particular locale, if you've got enough, you can have anything, you can do whatever you want. That seems to be a theme, which is nice. And this person had this beautiful lion. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys saw it, if you gentlemen saw it or not, but there's a video that popped up on the internet a few days ago where the beautiful lion jumps over the wall of the residence and just, you know, kind of mauls like 3 people, a mother and 2 kids. And the individual who owned the lion allegedly got arrested, and it became a whole thing. I don't know to what extent it became a thing, but it became a thing. They got arrested. And I'm just saying, you know what? If you've got the means to have a lion, you should be allowed to have a lion. On the other hand, if you happen to get mauled by a lion, just the way it goes. Instead of running, that's first of all, they say when you see a lion, be a lion. They don't say when you see a lion, start running. If you're a grown person, you should know you're not going to outrun a lion, all right? So running, I'm going to say that it didn't help that you ran. I'll say that. Are you at fault? No. Could you have been a little bit more of a team, could you have been a little bit of a team player? Could you have, because these days, everybody's got cameras, everybody's got phones. You know this video is going to go viral. You know this video is going to get a lot of views and attention. Must you traumatize everybody with your alleged trauma of getting mauled by a lion and not really, thinking of others and Also, the many options are available. You know, you could fight the lion. You could definitely. There's no images recorded that was depicting any putting up a fight. So that was, you know, and all of a sudden you got this beautiful individual who's locked up in jail or something, or needs to do some paperwork because their lion jumped a wall. You know your neighbor's got a lion. You know your neighbor's got a lion. Be a little bit more cautious when you're walking around that neighborhood. So that was just, because that's, you know, next thing you know, everybody's lions are going to get taken away. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't own any exotic pets. You know, so it's just a few bad apples that ruin it for everybody else. Yeah. I'm not sure if they're, you know, and this happens all instances all the time. The lions, tigers, you know, giant birds that are held in cages all around. You know, crazy lizards that people own end up, you know, eating another person. It becomes a whole thing. All of a sudden, the communities rattle. The communities shake. Oh, we gotta make sure nobody owns exotic pets. Must we rob each other of the little joys that we have? Must we be constantly thinking about me and what's mine? I'm gonna just get up today and just think of me today. Yeah, there's some people who want to have a little bit of fun, who got the access, who got the real, look up to that, aspire to be that. Everybody should own their own lions and tigers and any other exotic pets. Monkeys, yes. The baboons with the red ass with the prolapsed anuses. How many people wish they had baboons with prolapsed anuses, but how many people actually go and do it? Not many. Most people only wish. Most people only dream about it. Most people only live sad lives of thinking what they should get or what they should do with their resources, but never actually go out there and really get a baboon with a prolapsed anus and just let it gnaw at something half alive or half dead. Doesn't matter. The point is, you want your next get together to be a little bit more exciting. Be the person that shows everybody the exotic pet. Don't be the person that's like, oh, my arm is caught in the lion's mouth, trying to make it all about you and your victimhood. So please, let this be just, I guess, a PSA. Just let this be a little bit of a, you know, a moment where we can all come together and say, you know what, things that belong in the wild should also belong to individuals who can have them and should have them, and because they have them, they share that with us, the rest of us who don't. So don't get in the way trying to making that not a thing anymore. People should own their own lions. You wish you had a couple of lions. God. I don't know the individual's name, but hashtag free blank. Lahore. A lot of people are asking themselves, when I sit down at a table anywhere, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be a conference room, whether it be just a dinner table at someone's house, it could be your own, it doesn't matter. When I sit down at a table, is it okay if I jerk off anybody that's sitting beside me, or I finger them if they're sitting beside me? Thank you for that wonderful question. I don't believe the answer is actually, I'll say this, it's not is it right or wrong, it's why haven't you done it yet? Everybody likes to be jerked off, everybody likes to be fingered. Next time you're sitting at a table, and again, I don't care where it is, and you're like, what if I know the people? Well, then if you're close and you know them, they'll appreciate you even more. And you're like, what if I don't know the people? Well, get to know somebody. So tables were initially designed so that people could actually finger and or jerk each other off with a little bit of privacy whilst still being in the public or a semi-public gathering area of sorts, like a living room, like a restaurant, you know? So once the table is over and sitting, kind of covering your hands, your hands could be under the table doing God knows what with who knows what. So please, next time you're at a restaurant, you're eating with one hand, yeah, you got the fork in one hand, the other hand, you should just be, you know, just eating and milking, eating and or finger, right there. You could multitask. A lot of people like to, yeah. What about the texting? Put down your phone for 1 second. You got food in one hand, you're like, I gotta stare at my phone with the other. Give a hand job to the person next to you. You'll be surprised to see their reaction, the look on their face, they might not have the words to thank you or show gratitude, but believe you me, they're gonna walk away from that experience and say, you know what? Catching a little lunchy poo with Mikey Boy here wasn't such a bad idea. Matter of fact, I might just have lunch with Mikey Boy once again next week, or if you're too busy, maybe at least once a month. You know what? Betty, I've not seen her in ages. She fingered the fuck out of me, and Betty's the works, isn't she? She sure is, because guess what? Index, middle, ring, 3 in there, and maybe even a 4th. So that's what Becky's working with, or Betty, whatever her name is. The point is, yeah, tables were designed so that you could actually jerk each other or finger each other while you're amongst other people. So use it. But thank you for the question. No, it's not inappropriate. That's literally what tables were made for. Outside of that, if you look back throughout history, people were just jerking and fingering without tables. And at one point they're like, what if we need to have like a, this is a business meeting, we can't, and that's why tables were made, so that people could do business while still being able to jerk each other off and or finger fuck the lady next to them. So please, I get it. And yes, if you were thinking it, others were probably thinking it too. Do not step out of your comfort zone. You're like, I don't know about that. Guess what? The hands that you don't see that are covered by the table, they're already busy at work, my friend. You're just missing out on an experience. Those hands that you don't see when you're sitting at a restaurant, they're fast at work. They're busy making those relationships tighter, making people remember them, leaving a good impression, saying you can count on me. Come on the palm of my hand. Say that to yourself and others that you care for, or others that you might have just seen or gotten acquainted with. So please, don't hold yourself back. That's what a table was made for. But thank you for the question. There is absolutely no wrong time to, again, jerk anybody off or finger anybody. Once there's a table in the premise, it's go time. It's put on your A game and just have fun out there. What else is going on, ladies and gents? I believe Barbie was just recently making a little bit of news. It's allegedly they are releasing a Barbie that's a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more diverse. It's putting, it's all about representation. Not all Barbies speak to all the kids out there, and there's different sorts of kids, so you need to make different Barbies. So that's why they made the new Barbie doll that has diabetes. That's right, the diabetes Barbie. This Barbie will fucking, if you don't give it enough sugar during the day, it will die. It'll die. And that Barbie's gonna teach your children who may or may not have diabetes the lessons they need to learn about diet. Is that you gotta, I don't know what you gotta do with it. You gotta maintain those sugar levels. You're gonna die. I think you're gonna have a seizure, perhaps. Maybe not die immediately, but so if you want your kid that has diabetes to learn about diabetes, you get yourself a Barbie with diabetes, and they'll see what happens to the Barbie once they don't, give it enough insulin or sugar. And that Barbie's gonna fucking start foaming at the mouth. The tit is gonna start vibrating and gyrating, and just her badge is just gonna take off and run into the distance. Why? Because she didn't take care of her diabetes. And we need to teach from a young age and be inclusive and diverse and represent hard we will. So that's great news for the diabetes children. And this is promoting diabetes to a lot of times you're like, oh, I wonder what I should I promote diabetes or not promote diabetes? Should I talk about it? Will I, am I glorifying it in the streets and shit? I think it already exists, man. So to go out and buy yourself or somebody that either has diabetes or is, diabetes curious at least, a little bit of sucrose, a little bit of that, a little bit of sucrose curiosity. It doesn't matter. Get them a nice Barbie with diabetes and just see them kind of faint into the corner and just slump on their chair once they haven't had enough snacks in their system. So get that Barbie for your kid that has diabetes, or the kid that might want to dabble in diabetes, or even an adult. It doesn't even matter. It's good that there's more diversity and representation in the toy section. just tossing out ideas. I didn't personally have Barbies, but I did have a cousin who loved Barbies. And when we were very young, we'd play with her Barbies. So I can say that this podcast is not brought to you by Barbies. It could easily be brought to you by Barbies. Glad you made it. It's brought to you by Barbies. It could easily, and I'll give you a bunch of ideas. We could do crack Barbie. To give out the message that some babies might be crack babies, and you can have crack Barbie. And that's another way we could be more inclusive and more diverse and fucking rep hard, because there's a ton of babies that are not crack babies, but there's some babies that are crack babies. And this little Barbie could have a little baby, could have a little crack, a little crack bag, a little crack satchel, if you will, a little crack pipe, maybe a little glass pipe, just a little crack, maybe even a little tiny bit of crack, maybe a little bit of tiny, just a little rock, just a little tiny rock, a little lighter, a little tiny little hands. Maybe she's missing a couple of teeth. Maybe she is, getting holes in her brain or whatever. That she's active though. She'll clean the house really good. So that Barbie, get that Barbie for crack baby, because baby gotta relate to the toys that she plays with or he plays with. AIDS Barbie, you know what I'm talking about? AIDS. Not every baby has AIDS, but there's some babies out there who do have. They catch it from they pass it down. The parents pass it down. It might be an AIDS baby out there. I'm an AIDS baby. No representation in the Barbie world. Look how sad and pathetic that baby is. Introducing the AIDS baby, for the baby who can play with the AIDS Barbie and say, what, this Barbie doll is just like me. I've got AIDS, and you know who else has got AIDS? This Barbie's got AIDS, as she's wiggling around in the playground and not scaring others, educating others. What other kinds of baby? Cancer Barbie. You can have cancer, because that one's probably, it sucks that it does happen, but we got to be real and we got to represent hard. All right, so give cancer to the Barbie. Put the Barbie, make sure her head is shaved. Her hair should be removable, like a wig, because that's what happens to cancer babies. They gotta lose and it sucks, but that's more representation than any other representation you've ever seen. Get missing limbs Barbie. Get that one too. Missing limbs Barbie, like one that's kind of like, like a nub for an arm, just amputated. You don't know what happened. She was fucking, her parents took her down to the tropics and a shark bite. It's a massive shark bite. Baby with shark. You've never seen a baby with shark bite? Fucking open up your eyes, man. There's diversity and it needs to be included and represents hard. So shark bite baby. Baby missing, Barbie with missing limbs Barbie, for the baby that's been bitten by sharks or other animals or other primates. Broken home Barbie, let's make that one as well. That one's that's relatable to some extent for a lot of folks out there. It sucks that it does happen with some, but that baby, should it grow up and go through a lot, they will overcome it. But you know what I'm talking about. Broken house Barbie, the one with the one of the parents or both of the parents have got some sort of drug issue, a couple of run-ins with the police and the law. Maybe somebody goes to jail a little bit. The daddy issue Barbie or mommy issue Barbie, just one Barbie that doesn't have enough self-confidence to go out there and do it, but nonetheless they'll work through it. They will have a rough time. It's not going to be walking apart, but once they do get through it, it will either work out or it won't, and that's life. So broken home Barbie, Barbie with Tourette's Barbie. You don't see that one. Yeah, that sucks that you don't see, just a Barbie that yells out stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Tourette's Barbie, just calling everybody cunt. We need to see more of that. Cunt Barbie for the Tourette's baby. Tourette's Barbie for the Tourette's baby. So these are just some ideas. Again, this podcast is not brought to you by Barbie yet, but I'm telling you right now, I feel it. I smell it. I smell a deal in the air. Might just be indigestion. It doesn't mean there's something in the air, I'll say that. But the point is that it's good to be fucking repping hard and repping right together, ladies and gents. Thought about this. I'd like to pitch this to law enforcement, police officers, firefighters, our brethren and sistren in uniforms, why don't we have bulletproof / fireproof capes for cops and firefighters? This is just a genuine question. I had this question, and I'm thinking, if superheroes, if fictional superheroes can have these capes that are bulletproof and fireproof, why not give it to our cops? Why don't we make cops have capes that are bulletproof? How cool would that look? Why don't cops have capes, is what I'm trying to say. Superheroes are always wearing capes. And again, I'm sure we've got the tech. If we can make a bulletproof vest, which we've done that, I'm pretty sure we can make it so that it's like a cape and it's bulletproof and fireproof. Why does a fireman have to wait for the backup every time there's a fire? So we got to get the whole, gang in the fire truck. Get two of you in there. One somebody drives and the other one's caped up. He can go in there and climb up a tree or a ladder. Climb in the building that's on fire. Rescue everybody, because he's got that coverage, baby. He's got that coverage with the fireproof. And also bulletproof too. There's a bad guy inside. He's shooting at the fireman who's trying to save the baby and the cat and the lady with dementia. And then there's the perpetrator inside shooting amidst the fire. Just shooting fire. But this guy, he's got his cape on. Fireproof, bulletproof cape. Comes out of the building, tosses the old lady with dementia on top of the cat and the baby who's crying. All right, typical baby and cat with dementia and lady who's 95 to 1,000 years old. Doesn't matter. People saved. Perp burnt to a crisp inside because he waited to shoot at the firefighter or just watch him burn, which sucks because he's a fucking sick arsonist pervert out there. But guess what? Because of this bulletproof / fireproof cape, our firefighter was able to succeed in his day of work, and we are thankful that he's alive and well. Guess what? You're a police officer who wants to handle business. You know what I'm talking about. Fight crime and shit. Gets me hard just thinking about it. Don't you wish you had a cape? Don't you wish you had a cape so you could just or just cover every bit of you in case there's moments where you need to cover every bit of you? But the vest is only covering your main arteries and the organs which are vital, but nonetheless not covering everything. With a cape you could go in there, just grab the cape over just kind of like peep through a little bit, but also just like from underneath, right there, and there's the bullets coming right at you, and it's ricochet right back into the perpetrator's eyes, and they're blind. Oh my god, I'm blind. I can't believe I lost my eye. How did this happen? Bulletproof cape, that's how it happened, you disgusting criminal. Just thought it should be out there, available to people already. I don't know why it might get in the way sometimes. It might get in, there's going to be a little bit of time that we need to take to train people. Yeah, might the first few instances of trying to grab your gun and go for the cape, might your gun get caught up in the cape? Excuse me. No, bless you. Thank you. Yes, the gun might get caught up in the cape, and there might be a few times where bad guys or bad gals bad guys and bad gals might actually, get the upper hand initially, because our men and women are not trained yet to wield a cape and wield a gun at the same time. But with enough training, we can definitely get on top of that shit. I'm not going to take responsibility. There might be a few people who get shot because your gun it might get stuck to the cape. It's going to be loose. It's going to be windy. Most of the time, you're not going for your gun though. Think about how cool you'll look with a cape in the wind. Just you and you're sticking out your chest and the cape behind you. Look how cool you look. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, get rid of the vest. Get a cape. It's, if you had to choose which looks better, the cape looks way better than keep the vest. I don't care, but it does. It's going to cost us a little bit more. Keep the vest, but also get a cape. You're welcome. What else is going on? And then around the world, I'll say this. A lot of people like to make love. That's how you came about. Son of a bitch. Dirty little whore. That's how you're living out here. Because somebody made love somebody else. A male and a female got together and made sweet, sweet love. But that's aside the point. We're not talking about procreation. We're talking about recreational sex. And people sometimes have the desire to finish hard, but you're only one person. There's only so much liquid inside you that you can, afford to dispose of. And I've thought about this. I'm like, why are there plenty of men and women out there finishing, climaxing, but they are not coming as much as they would like to? The men are not coming as much as they would like to, and the females might not be ejaculating as much as they would like to. And you're like, well, this is it. This is my life. I'm just a tablespoon worth of jizz, and that'll be my life. Or, I got a half a pint of squirt in me. I'm that lady. I got a half a pint of squirt in me, and with every day, it's getting lesser and lesser and lesser. You might not notice right now, but 1 drop today, 10 drops in a year, and by the time you're in your 40s or 50s, your squirting abilities might not be as good as they used to be when you were in your 20s and your 30s. Not everybody's fortunate enough to have that ability, but I'll say this. I came up with a great idea that could help a lot of people. It's called Insta Bukkake or Bukkake on Call, where whenever you decide to make love, and again, this is because it's for recreational purposes only, this could actually be open to anybody, not just heterosexual couples. Whenever you are anybody who is having sex and you're about to bust a nut and or do the female ejac, immediately text or call this number. 10 people, trained professionals, will show up at the same time you're about to nut. They will nut with you, and then they will bounce as soon as. So guess what? That little back shot that you want to give her, it's a little bit of a squirt on her back. You're like, oh, she loves this. Guess how much she's gonna love it more? She's gonna love it a lot more when there's like 10 guys busting a nut on her back and making her think that was all you. And these guys are discreet. You won't even see them coming or going. It would definitely help if you turn off the lights at the time you're about to nut, because that way it would just look like as if it's just you, because they're trained, they're silent. They are basically cum ninjas. That's what they are, all right? They will get in there, jizz on her back, make it seem as if it's all been you, and just bounce. Just they're wearing these nice little ballerina or ninja shoes. You're not gonna hear a peep. And they're gonna be dressed in all black, so you won't see a goddamn thing if the lights are turned off. But again, that this really helps. There is, yes, if it's in broad daylight, they'll probably see it. I'm not gonna take responsibility for that. You deal with the lighting. I'm telling you right now, lady, you wanna surprise him because you're like, oh, I can't wait to squirt in his face. And I got a half a pint that'll just he's gonna be drenched. I'm telling you right now. This is maybe not, you don't need to do this every day, of course, but every once in a while, turn off the lights. When you're about to squirt, call that number, text that number. Next thing you know, there's 10 female ninjas just flicking that beat, just flicking the beat right there and just squirting his face, dude. And they'll leave as soon as they're done. Again, he won't hear a peep. And you'll be just, soaking, both of you, soaking wet. And he'll thank you and be like, oh, can't believe that was amazing. And you'll slap him with your tit and be like, of course it's amazing. You know what time it is. So you're welcome out there. Instant bukkakes, you can get it on call by text or phone call. Again, it helps if you do it in the dark, if you want to leave a little bit of mystery. If you're like, you know what, I don't even care where we get wet from. I don't even care if we see them or not, but that's still available. You can still do it in daytime. It's still, then you can take control because you arranged it. It still counts as your juices. Still counts as your squirt because you got it for him or her. So there you go. What else is going on, ladies and gents? I'll say this, during any time of the year, especially during, I suppose, summertime, springtime, a lot of people are thinking to themselves, you know what, I should join a gang. I should join a motorcycle gang, to be more specific, because you've seen a couple of fellas or ladies riding around town on their bikes looking all sorts of cool and shit, and you're like, how do I join a motorcycle gang? The best way to join any motorcycle gang is to gay it up. That's right, gay it up. motorcycle gangs are low-key, but also, you know, high-key, are mostly made of gay folk. And that's completely cool too, but they won't let you know immediately that they're mostly gay. What you need to do is, despite the fact that they might pretend that they're not, they are. And I want you to, and the harder they pretend they're not, the harder they are gay. So find yourself a rough looking gang. I'm talking, you know, the Mongols, Hell's Angels, you know. Want you to gay it up and just get in there, get some leather outfits, some chaps, assless chaps, some lube, just hang some chains on yourself, maybe some studs, maybe pierce. If you've got piercings, it'll help. And just get a bike and roll up to the gang and say, hey boys, are you interested in a recruit? And then rev your engine. As you say, you interested in a new recruit, a new prospect, and then rev that engine. And they might not pay you any attention at first. They might be even ignoring you. But then you rev that engine. And you kind of like pop a wheelie if you can. If you can, just kind of like, you know, lean on the bike as you know, unbutton buttons and maybe show a little bit of, you know, root, show a little bit of root. That's what the cock root I'm talking about. And get their attention. And just, if you see the men kind of like, you know, socializing in a circle, nudge yourself into the circle. A lot of times they might pretend they don't like it, but they love it, low-key. They want to see initiative. Show initiative. Again, assless chaps, lots of just, you know, couple of bandanas, buy them drinks, bring the drinks from the bar that's, you know, and if they're outside, bring the drinks out to them. And kind of low-key just hand job anybody, just throw that in there. And they might look at you like, fuck? And that just means that they're into it. The fuck did you just say? And be like, nothing. Hand jobs anyone? And they'll be, what the fuck did this? Fuck did you just say? They might say something like that. And you just continue gaying it up and just let it sit. Just, you know, hand jobs, let it sit. Ignore. They want to see if you're willing to, you know, put in the work. They might dismiss it at first. Let them keep talking. After you throw the hand job, you know, comment, and then let them just like, let that simmer. Let that just simmer a little bit. After that, you know, couple of, you know, just hang out and come in and go as they come in and go. Different odd hours of the day, run into them, just say stuff like anal, and they might be like, fuck did you just say? Did this guy just say anal? And they might say something. They're just confirming with one another because they're like, did I just hear what I heard? And next thing you know, a little bit, but just be more insistent. Find out who the leader is, and low key lean on them and start like massaging their neck. They love it. I'm telling you right now, if you want to join a motorcycle gang, the tougher, the rougher they are, the more they'd appreciate if you were to gay it up, because that's how you get inside. You got to gay it up to get inside. So come one day just wearing nothing but like just, latex outfits with, circles drawn out on your nipples and maybe a whip in hand, and just start whipping that bike. Start whipping that bike that you just got, just whoosh, whoosh, right there. And low key, whip one of the guys, just not a hard whip, not on it, because you don't want it to come off as like, yo, this is gonna be a big, brawl, or just a little whoosh, right there on the derriere, and let them know that you're interested in joining the gang. So these are some ways that you could do it, but the core method is to just gay it up. And again, they're gonna pretend like they don't like it. They're gonna say, no, that's not what we're all about. You might even get threatened to get really, fucked up. And that just means you're almost there. You're almost in. And you might low-key need to take a couple of beatings. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You might take a couple of beatings and they might threaten your life, but that just means that they like you. So keep on insisting and then gay it up even more. Bring down get their phone number somehow, and then send them gay porn, and they will like it. So there you go, ladies and gents. If you were wondering, like, how do I join a motorcycle club? You gotta gay it up. That's how you do it. A lot of people don't know these things. A lot of people don't know. Just letting you know that's how you can do it easily. Get toys, sex toys for the butt. Beads. I'm talking anal beads, like a long one, and just like wrap it around. You just have it hang from behind. Just a long bead. You know, a pearl necklace hanging from your neck, and just kind of like, you know, just give little neck rubs to the gang members. They will initially pretend like they're not into it, but again, these are just, it's just gang culture. It's just the way that I'm letting you know. It's just gang culture, a little bit of hazing, a little bit of like, no, we're not interested, but low key, they want it bad. What else is going on? I was just thinking to myself, like many of you out there, as we've seen over the past few years, there's been an uptick, of course, in airplanes making, you know, just not the proper landing and or crashing, and it sucks. There's been an uptick of those. I don't know if it's always been like that, or if it's us just watching more of them because we have more access to tech, phones, videos, news, all of it. Who knows what the cause is, but nonetheless, I was just thinking we should definitely legalize it. That if a plane should start to, you know, if you get that call from the captain, it's your captain speaking, this plane is about to bust. The captain makes that little speech and you see the engine just blown up for whatever odd reason, and it sucks to be in that position. But we should make it legal so that you can actually start either jerking off and or finger fucking yourself and or simply just having sex with anybody that's on board. And typically speaking, it's frowned upon to, you know, touch yourself and or others in public, but I think it is appropriate to say if you're going down and if you know you're gonna go down, I think it's appropriate that we make it legal so that there's no, you know, because there should be some sort of coverage for your ass in case you do survive. You don't want there to be survivors and you're one of them, and then all of a sudden there's complaints that, oh, the engine failed and we thought we were all going to lose our lives, and then this group right here started having sex with each other and we were all traumatized because we're like, oh, you know. And again, but always people like to complain and make a whole thing out of a situation that they didn't fully grasp and take advantage of. I'm just saying we should get some sort of, you know, and I have said this before. Again, if we're like concerned about kids, I've always said children should not be flying anyway. I think you should be at least 18 years of age to fly. I think that's a privilege. I think flying should be reserved for adults and adults only. That way we could all get loose and have a little bit more fun. But at least make it so that if an airplane or any, you know, it could be even a helicopter, and you've heard of those as well. If they happen to go down, you should have the ability to start, you know, going to town either on yourself or other people or together, and it should be completely okay because it's, you know, all your, you know, DMT's releasing inside you, adrenaline, all that rush, just not one proper time, but one last time, climax properly, and then if you know, if it goes down that you didn't live, that sucks, but at the same rate you had a lot of fun, and should you survive, well, what a great story. You know, that jizz or female ejaculate is probably gonna help you, you know, rid yourself of the fire. The fuel engine, the jet fuel is fucking all over the place, and you might not catch fire because you're wet, because you're soaking wet, because somebody squirted on your whole body. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, putting it out there. Should be some sort of law protecting people in case a plane starts going down. Have at it. What else is going on? I'll say this. This one is, this one's, I'll just get into it because there's no easy way to get into this one. A lot of you might have heard as of late that there's no Epstein killed himself, and there are no Epstein files, there are no client lists, there's no repercussions of any sort, and you might have a few questions out there. So this segment will be called so you think you can honeypot, or so you think you can honey trap. What am I talking about? A lot of us have now come to realize that this is a part of life is complex. Life is complex. Sometimes people who are in groups need to do certain things. It's there are jobs out there, and aspects of it are not always pretty, but sometimes it needs to happen. And honeypotting, honey trapping it takes place. Some of you know by now, most of you know by now, but it does go down, and it's not always easy. Again, it's one of those jobs. It's a thankless job, but this whole Epstein fiasco should be it's basically a huge signal. It's a recruitment tool. I'll be honest with you. We are seeking individuals who are willing to be the next Epstein, or and that is this is the way I'll just say it. The way it goes down is sometimes you need individuals in certain communities, whether it be intelligence, private contractors, who do this. This is not easy work. This is not your regular 9 to 5. But we are seeking individuals who are willing to go out there, schmooze with people, make connections. We will back you up financially. We will give you fake identities. We will give you 5 new identities. And you can go out there, and your goal is to what? Make relationships with people. Good, solid relationships with important people. I'm talking diplomats. I'm talking foreign dignitaries. I'm talking prime ministers. I'm talking about princes, princesses, presidents, kings, queens, and any foreign ministers, foreign public ministers, minister of foreigners, a foreigner who's a minister, ministers too, anybody really, and the clergy, and religious figures, people in tech, people who are influential, people in AI, high people in high places, people who are important people. Essentially, you need to make contact with these people. You need to approach them. You are going to be inviting these individuals to really, extravagant parties, and you're going to tell them like, hey, you should come out. So and so is going to be there, and so and then the other guys too, and the other gals too. It's going to be great. It's just a get together. You should come on. You should come on down. And your goal is to get them to come down to these designated areas. It could be an island. It could just be a penthouse anywhere in any major city around the world. It could be somewhere that's not even on anyone's radar whatsoever, because it's not even been disclosed yet. It could be an undisclosed island. It could be a covered up island, sex island, bukkake island. It could be called anything. It doesn't matter. The point is, you're going to invite them to these places. You're going to get them to engage in all sorts of sexual activities, regular sexual activities, but then low key, as your relationship moves forward. And this might take years. Will take years. It's not a one-time thing. You're not just going to get somebody from one evening to just head down to God knows where with you to do what needs to be done. You're going to get them to have sex, all sorts of sex, regular sex, and then low key. If they are into gay sex, great. If they're not into gay sex, introduce them to gay sex. If they're already doing gay sex, and if they're not doing gay sex, introduce them to trans people, or throw in a couple of trannies in there. And low-key, if they're not into it, you guys, that's your job to schmooze and make it so that it appears to them like it's their idea. It's a good idea to do it. And by that I mean, point to some other people who are at the party and be like, they're gaying it up and they're transing it up. Don't you want to trans it up? No one's here. It's just us boys and gals just having a good time, all free. And get them to do gay shit and trans shit too. Maybe nice, bring people over, prostitutes, lady boys. I'm talking about, trannies from the Philippines or Vietnam or wherever they're, Southeast Asia. You know what I'm talking about, the ones that look really good, the ones that are fucking deceiving sometimes. From the outside, you're like, that's a tiny woman, but a good solid woman. And the next thing you know, nuts in your mouth, that kind of lady, woman, tranny is the proper term. So get one of those guys and gals involved, and then take photos of them, record it. And down the line, we're gonna use that to, blackmail, essentially. Blackmail them for either information, cooperation, you scratch my back, I won't tell people that you suck the tranny off, and the bigger that you get to, the bigger you get to commit to something that's low key on the, because all the things that we just said are still relatively okay. These are still, because they're just, variants of sex. But yeah, although nobody likes to be recorded without their knowledge, it's still not as bad as what you need to do next. And the next part is that you need to low key introduce them to, just toss the idea. Would you like some, how do you like them? How do you like the puss? Bring out a conversation, a nonchalant conversation. Just, I like my puss ripe. I know I like my puss ripe, or I like my cock ripe. Say stuff like that. And what does that mean? That means because you guys start a conversation by saying how you need to figure out how does one figure out if a cock or puss is ripe? And the thing that you got to do is grab it and squeeze it and lick it and eat it out. And that's how you know. You gotta get it when it's nice and ready, nice and fresh, keyword fresh, and then switch from ripe to fresh. And then once you got them to commit to fresh, you can start saying, you like them fresh, don't you? You like them real fresh. Yeah, I like them fresh too, is what you want to say. So convey to them that you're both in it together. You're both in it together. And slowly but surely you want to say, hey, what even is age? What even is a child and a grown-up? Am I right? High five right there with him or her. You want them to be hopefully drugged up and or intoxicated so that they don't really know what they're doing. Everybody's different. Sometimes they're on board from the get-go. Sometimes you got to work this shit. Again, some of them are easier than others. Some are on board. Some high-level princes might be already on board. You know what I'm talking about? Some might be new. Some might be like some new tech money, AI money that's not new to the game. That's new to the game. They don't know what's going on. So you got to be like, yeah, I like them fresh. I like them young. I like them super young. And then eventually be like, low key, if you want, we're on an island in the middle of the ocean, and there are no laws here. This is our land. This is our territory. You can fuck whatever you want. You want to fuck a baby, and then toss that in there, and just be like, you want to fuck a baby? Nonchalantly, fuck a baby, and let's see what they say. If they say yes, well, that's much easier. If they say no, low key, just be like, come on, everybody's fucking a baby. And then point to people on the island or the boat or the yacht or wherever you are. Point to them. Hopefully, there'll be people having sex with babies and children that are underage, hence them being children. And you can be like, come on, Hawkins is having sex with baby, or whoever Hawkins is, just throw it in a name. Who cares? Like a allegedly, who knows? Whatever, just toss in like a prince, whoever. He's then, what is that? Is that 18? You're like, 17, 18, 16. What even is age? What even is age is but a number. And then just, give him a shot, keep giving the shots. And low-key just, bring in younger and younger folk. And hopefully your goal is to eventually get them to have sex with a baby or a child. And you should record this. You should definitely record this. And then next thing you know, you just, wake up next few days after your little shindig and just, high five and, I'll see you later, John. And then, 6 months down the line, Johnny's got a new contract that needs to be, going forward with a new merger of a company that needs to, who knows, but it could be a weapons manufacturing company, it could be a surveillance company, it could be an AI company, it doesn't matter, but the deal either needs to be made or it needs to be immediately gotten rid of. We need to just demolish this new company that's a threat to our company, whatever the deal may be, it doesn't matter. The point is, now you got shit like, hey, Johnny boy, it's so-and-so. Remember, how do you feel about just ruining this company that you're in? Can we have some trade secrets? Can we have some, access to intellectual property? And he's like, come on, I'm a corporate whatever. I can't give you that. And then you're like, well, remember that time we were at an island? Remember that time when we were on the yacht and you fucked that little boy or girl? It'd just be a shame for that to get out, wouldn't it? Be a shame for that to get out. And there you go. That's honeypotting or honey trapping. And we need people who go and do this work because we need people to do this kind of work. Believe it or not, we need people who do this kind of work. They are, it's a thankless job. We need people to conduct, coups. We need people to conduct, government overthrows. We need people to arm different rebels in different regions of the world. We need to, it's not easy. It's not all of it. I don't mean to say that everybody in, This is not pointing to the entire agencies, whether it's your CIAs or Mossad or wherever, the MI6 or the five, whoever. It's not all of them. It's not all of them, but there's some that need to be doing this in order for the world to go round and round. All right, in order for us to be enjoying our lives the way we do, somebody's got to orchestrate these pedophilia rings and get people to commit certain acts so that there could be information and power could be leveraged into more information and power, and essentially money and more power. So, and that's basically how it goes. So if you got what it takes, leave a comment. If you want to get on board, leave a comment. That's just the way it goes. No, I want you to know, and nothing will happen to you. You will again, different identities. People won't even know your real identity. Jeffrey Epstein might just be, who knows? It just might be low key. Nobody knows. Nobody knows at this point. It's just at this point, it's just speculation, and we'll never find out. But what you do find out is that this is the whole thing could be a psyop for the beautiful elites who we are all dependent on. It's the elites must get to do what they want to do, right? So please support the elites, the lizards, the higher ups, the Illuminati. Always support them. And power just works together that way. It's good. It's the structures that have been in place for thousands of years. It's great that it's the way it is. And sometimes it's for the greater good. You must understand that it's for the greater good. All right. And it's not that now you know that it's because it's a new age. Well, at different times, 20, 30, 50 years ago, it would have been much easier to just keep it under hush hush. Now we need to be out in the open with it. I'm not going to tell you exactly who did what, but at least what goes down. And you need to ask yourself, hey, do I got what it takes? And that's something you need to have a discussion, with yourself and loved ones, and just be like, could I do this? And if you could, there's multiple positions available. Again, it could be, Jeffrey Epstein, it could be just, think of it as, don't get so caught up in the idea of Jeffrey Epstein as a real person. It might not even be a real person. This whole thing might just be a psyop. It might just be a psyop to be like, you know what? These things do happen. And if shit goes down, the whole psyop could be just a scare tactic to, you know what? And when we need to, if we need to, people do disappear. And that's what it is. The whole psyop could be that if shit hits the fan, people do get disappeared. And that's what it is. If you keep asking questions, things will happen. If you keep doing certain things, things will happen. It's, who knows? Allegedly everything. I don't know nothing about nothing. All I know is that we are hiring at this point. We are hiring, and you need to know that Jeffrey Epstein is just basically, think of it as an open invitation. Think of it as a calling card. Think of it as a opportunity to work. Do you not want to work? And again, it's not easy. Everybody thinks it's like, yeah, I could honey trap if I wanted to. You think you could honey trap if you wanted to. You think you could. And if you could, leave a comment. If you'd like to, start with practice with, your family, friends, nothing cray-cray, leave those higher levels of honey trapping to when you actually get on the field and do it. But low-key, just get people to be like, hey, just list a little yeses, a little yes here and there, a little yes here and there. Just get a little yes from different people here and there. Practice and see how you can cope with it mentally. If you are, ideally, we're looking for sociopaths, psychopaths. You need to be just, leave your emotions aside. This is just needs to get done. Certain things need to get done. All right, you must understand this. You must understand this. This is the way it works. And if you're interested, leave a comment. We are looking for the next, honey potter, honey, trapper. So if you think you can honey pot, we'll see you in the honey pot. Get out of here. Peace out.